when you're teaching your child how to read or when your school is working on reading, you want to make sure that they have in their possession or in their environment books that they can read independently with very little help from you to make them really grow in that confidence in their reading. So I'm going to show you a visual that goes over how to use decodable books at home. And then I'll show you some of my favorites that I love. So this first one, so right here, decodable books are so important. Like I said, they build those fundamental reading skills and they build that confidence. So the first thing you want to do is pick a book or a short passage that helps them practice the pattern that you or their teacher just introduced or something that you've introduced previously. So if you just talked about the letter A and T, those would be the only sounds. So I'm going to give you a quick visual of what that would look like before I move on with a program called UFly. I'm going to share my screen and show you how I get over there. So this is UFly, and a lot of school districts use it. But to give you an understanding of how this works, is the first 5 lessons they've talked about A, M, S, T, P, all these sounds that we talked about, F, and it doesn't get down to, it gets down to about, oh, sorry, when they get down to lesson 8, they have this decodable passage. And in this passage, it only has these letter sounds in it and the heart words that have been introduced. So if you see, it's very simple, right? It says, I sit, I tap, I sit, and I tap. So it's only the sounds that have been introduced to the child, which makes it a lot, it makes their skills grow nice and slowly. It gives them a chance to really build that confidence. The next thing is you really want to encourage your child to do the work. Like we talked about, we want them to first look at that word, sound it out, and then use the picture as like a training wheels to help them out. Well, we want them looking at that word first. Then your child might get stuck. What you want to do is not tell them the word immediately. You want to try one or all of these things. We want to say touch each sound. Say the sound slowly and blend it back together. If they're still like, I don't know, or then you help them, right? But we want them to at least try themselves. The next thing we're looking at is reading something more than once, because then it gives them that confidence as well. So I have kids when they first learned how to read that passage that I showed you that probably might look a little boring to you, but they are thrilled. They're so excited that they can read it. They read it over and over again because they can do it on their own. And then here are some things that I recommend. So I just showed you the UFly has all these free passages that the kids can read and then illustrate. And then I also talk about a site I use. It's called Measured Mom, and she has a lot of books. It's like $8 a month, and Measured Mom has all these different books that you can download. And I like this for me because obviously I'm working with a lot of different kids, so it's hard to have enough books for everyone. But it's also nice because as a parent, like I said before, sometimes the kids will read it several times. Sometimes they'll read it once, be like, I read that book already, and then they're done. So I'm going to pull up these printables really quick right now and show you what I'm talking about. And the students love these because, again, they can take them home too, and they can keep them. So you can see, again, like just like UFly, it focuses on the letters they've learned, and it builds on that. And the stories are silly. The kids enjoy them. So if I were to show you what they look like, you print them out. And they have these little blending lines. So first they can practice reading those CVC words. You could have them write some words, and then they have the passage that you can print out. And you can do it in color, or you can have them do it in black and white and they can color it in. So You Fly, Measured Mom, they're all really great. The other one that I really like, or the other two that I really like, are Primary Phonics, and they have like Mac and Tab and all these different books, and they're a little bit longer, but they're really good. And some of them make the kids laugh, which is nice. And again, they can reread it because it's not quite as short. So if I pull out the first one just to show you how they build, the first one is Mac and Tab. And if you look at this first one, it's very simple. Tab is a cat. And it's just very nice and simple, but it's silly because in the story, one of the characters eats the ham and it's meant for the cat. And then the cat at the end steals the mouse's hat. And it's just silly. And then it builds all the way up to a story like this, which is later on. And then you see a little bit, the words are a little bit longer and there's a little bit more words on the page. So I have used this Primary Phonics for years. I used it when I taught in Montessori back in 2010. And now it's like, 2026, so they've really stood the test of time. The last one are Hooked on Phonics. They do have an app. I don't agree with their whole program, but I love their books because they're so nice and simple. And the kids really enjoy them because the characters repeat. So they remember the characters' names. Like they remember Pigwig. So it's not that they have to sound out each word. So yeah, so those are the decodable books that I would suggest. Does anyone have questions